There are only 210 days left before the midterm elections and only 16 days before the deadline of the voters' registration. The elections are coming very fast, but still many of us are not yet registered. This morning, Commission on Elections spokesman Jimenez is with us to give us reminders for the upcoming elections, and we'll talk to him about other issues as well. Attorney Jimenez, good morning. Thanks for coming over.
Good morning, Jing. Thank you for having me.
How's the registration coming along?
Oh, it's going great. We're seeing the crowds coming in, you know. As you mentioned, it's only a few days before the deadline, so that's normally when we see this surge of people coming in for last minute registrations as usual. But it's all good, you know. We expect to have about 52 million voters by the 2013 elections. And overall, over the last 16 months that we've been doing this, we've been seeing a real good turnout anyway. I mean, it's not like before when the first few months are like totally zero in some places. We've had a steady stream of people coming in to register, mostly because I think this is one of the most reported registration cycles ever. I mean, it's like it's stayed in the public consciousness for a very long time, and despite, you know, certain dips when big news happens, people just, you know, it bounces back. So it's a good thing. It's a good development, and again, like I said, we're looking at 52 million next year.
Where can people go to register?
They can go. They should go to register at the COMELEC office in the city or municipality where they reside.
Okay, there's one in each city or municipality.
Yeah. And normally that's where the city hall is. That's where the city hall is.
And so far, how have you noticed a change in the voter profile? Are people more interested? They're getting younger.
They're getting younger, definitely. And a lot of the youth are being mobilized by all of these civil society and well, private initiatives that basically get people interested in the registration process. So that's very important. People are also more engaged, especially with the rise of social media. As you can imagine, people are becoming more active politically in the sense that they don't just vote, they now actually, well, take part in the discussion much more actively than they used to.
Who can register and who can't register?
People who are going to be 18 on election day, 18 years old on election day, that's May 13th.
So you don't have to be 18 now?
You don't have to be 18 now.
All right.
You just have to be 18 on election day.
Okay.
And you just come to the office, you bring valid ID. Valid ID meaning, well, school ID, company ID, passport, driver's license, that sort of thing. Occasionally, we will ask for birth certificates, especially when the age isn't very clear from the ID, or in certain cases, proof of billing, just to prove that your address is really where you live. We've had cases where you've had several people claiming the same address, and that's very suspicious. So just as a matter of, you know, keeping the list clean, sometimes we do ask for proof of billing. Now, the people who can't register, they're actually very few. These are the people who are disqualified by law, you know, declared incompetent or declared insane, that sort of thing.
And if you've been charged in court and served a prison
charged
term?
in court is not really a problem. If you are currently serving a prison term, then if the prison term is by final conviction, then you can't register. But even those who are now detained in prison, we've been extending registration to them as well. We bring registration centers to these detention facilities. These are the people who have been charged with crimes but have not yet been convicted. So they can still register.
All right. On another subject, party list.
Yes, party list.
What's the status on the issue about Ako Bicol?
Ako Bicol needs to file a motion for, no, I'm sorry, needs to file an appeal with the Supreme Court. It can no longer file a motion for reconsideration with the COMELEC. All COMELEC decisions that have come out relative to the party list are all unbanked decisions, which means that there is no motion for reconsideration available. They have to go to the SC. Now Ako Bicol has maintained its position that it shouldn't be barred from entering the party list race, so I suppose they're filing a case today, or, well, definitely in the coming days.
Why a review of the party list groups?
Why a review? That's a very good question. Prior to the start of this review, there have been a lot of indications that the COMELEC was veering away from the liberality that it showed in previous elections. And this coincided, of course, with the increase in complaints about certain party list organizations not really being representative of any marginalized sector. So this confluence of two trends basically led us to start a review of the process of giving accreditations. Now, this was first manifested in tighter controls for new applicants, and later on as a summary hearing for existing party list organizations, where we take a look at their qualifications in a continuing manner, so that you can't really rest on your accreditation once you get it.
On another subject, automated elections in 2013, is it going to work?
It's going to work. It's going to work. We are going to use the PCOS machines, that's the precinct count optical scan machines. Right now, we have more than half of the amount of the number of machines that we are procuring, so we're getting ready for that. And we expect that by January, we'll be able to move forward with the ballots.
When you say half, that's around 30,000 machines?
That's more than 40,000.
More than 40,000 machines, of a total of? 82,000
yes.
machines.
Actually, 40,000 was like the figure that I was quoting, I don't know, for the last 3 weeks. So there's definitely more.
All right. AES Watch, you know the group.
Yes, I know.
Headed by Professor Bobby Tuazon.
Yeah.
They say that Smartmatic hasn't been able to fix the errors from 2010.
Well, that's a very unfortunate claim from them. And we're trying our best to reach out to them, really. We've actually created a committee basically to hear their complaints and to give them updates on what's going on. As far as the COMELEC is concerned, we believe that the glitches that they refer to have been addressed, and we're very confident that, in fact, the enhancements will make the whole thing even better. The problems that they've encountered before, we do not expect to see them anymore. I think for the most part, we should just give this committee a chance, I think, and they should come to it with an open mind, perhaps.
AES Watch says that the contract between Dominion Voting Systems, which holds the software for voting used by Smartmatic, its license agreement with Smartmatic ended in on May 23 of this year. And because of that, Smartmatic isn't allowed access to technical support and assistance.
Well, that's assuming that Smartmatic doesn't do anything about it, right? I mean, this is its core business, and to my knowledge, everything's been current. I mean, been kept current. We come up with expirations regularly, and of course, these things are extended. Now, I cannot speak directly to the issue of the Dominion versus Smartmatic contract, because I don't have any personal knowledge of that. I haven't had any personal knowledge of that for the past few weeks. But again, should we not assume that everything is being kept regular? And so until that problem really pops up, or we can validate that, at this point, really all I have to say is, maybe we can assume the best instead of assuming the worst all the time.
But aren't there checks
along
the process?
There should be.
It's just checking the system.
We have a project management structure that is dealing with this. So basically, we're not all of us getting updated all at the same time in terms of these details of the project. But we do have a dedicated team watching out for these matters.
And when you say dedicated team, that team is conscientiously checking the system every step of the way?
Oh, I think that they meet more than twice a week. So they're pretty much up to speed on everything.
All right, James Jimenez, thanks for joining us this morning. Thanks for coming over to our studios.
Thank you for having me.